I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is PsycHacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is All Men Are Incels. Obviously a provocative title, but I do think I can make a strong argument in its defense. Let's get to it. In case you've been living under a rock, incel is short for involuntarily celibate. Basically, an incel is a man who wants to have sex, but can't seem to find a willing participant. While I don't think the term was originally derogatory, it's definitely used as a pejorative today, especially by women. In fact, it seems as though every man women disagree with these days is either an incel or a misogynist, or both, I suppose. They might not be mutually exclusive. In any case, it's generally not meant as a compliment. Now, leaving aside the wondrous coincidence that the only men who disagree with women happen to be hateful and or unattractive, I must admit that I find the use of this term, incel, absolutely baffling as an insult. And it really only takes a little bit of effort to understand why. While it's clearly the case that some men are more attractive than others, no man who has ever existed has been universally attractive to women at all times. I mean, even Greek mythology is full of stories of gods being turned down by mortal women. And this means that every man, irrespective of how handsome or famous or powerful or charming he might be, has been frustrated in his sexual desire at some point in his life. Even the most successful Casanovas don't bat 1,000 100% of the time. In fact, if there is a single experience that binds together all men of all cultures, it is having one's sexual interest rebuffed. And in that moment, that man is an incel. He wants to have sex, but he doesn't have a willing partner. Well, unattractive men might experience this more frequently. Even the most attractive men cannot have sex whenever they want, however they want, with whomever they want. If such a thing is possible, it is a privilege that only beautiful women enjoy. In any case, it doesn't take a genius to understand that when a man's sexual interest is rebuffed, there are really only two possible outcomes. Either the man is going to be, at least with respect to that relationship, involuntarily celibate, or the woman is going to be, shall we say, involuntarily sexual. Like, those are the only two options. And I think we're all going to agree that the first outcome is preferable to the second. Given this understanding, I can't wrap my head around the impulse to denigrate those who choose to uphold the first option. Like it or not, when a man is involuntarily celibate, what is he necessarily doing? Well, among other things, he is acknowledging the right of a woman to consent to sex, and he is respecting the foundations of civil society. He is choosing to frustrate his will rather than impose it on another. And we're like collectively agreeing that that is something to be mocked and derided? Because that is the real difference between men. The distinction does not come down to those who are rebuffed and those who aren't. As I've already said, the latter class of men don't exist. But to those who are governed by law and human decency and those who aren't. Like, if there has ever been a man who has never been an incel, it was probably Genghis Khan. And that's not because no woman ever told him no. I'll say that again in a slightly different way. The reason Genghis Khan might not have been an incel was not because women found him universally attractive. It's because he didn't take no for an answer. Let that sink in. If you appreciate the insights on this channel, I would highly encourage you to get your hands on a copy of my book, The Value of Others. Over the course of 432 pages, I delve deep into my economic model of relationships and explain the behavior of both men and women in the game of mating and dating. I also provide a lot of actionable advice on how to get and keep more of what you want in the sexual marketplace. Once you read The Value of Others, you'll never look at relationships the same way again. Now available in ebook, audiobook, and paperback formats. The links are in the description. It should go without saying, but disparaging those who choose not to violate others is very, very stupid. And this is a choice. This isn't a topic that's very comfortable to discuss, but it is one that we benefit from remembering from time to time. You may have heard that women are the gatekeepers of sex. I've said it myself on this channel. However, the part that isn't often said is that women are the gatekeepers of sex by convention. Women are not naturally endowed with that privilege. It is not in their nature or in their biology to unilaterally prevent sex from occurring in the event that they don't want it. If it were, then non-consensual sex literally wouldn't be possible. From a physical perspective, a woman's body, like any person's body, is, as Epictetus would say, subject to a superior force. And when it comes to physical force, the average man is more powerful than the average woman. All of this is to say that women are not the gatekeepers of sex by nature. They are the gatekeepers of sex by convention. They are the gatekeepers of sex because we've gotten together as a society by creating a structure of order and establishing a system of laws. And the basis of this social contract is fundamentally the voluntary surrender of certain natural rights in return for protection against those same rights being enacted against us. This is Hobbes's Leviathan, and it is the only legitimate basis of civil society. And we've agreed that no woman should be made to have sex against her will because, I suppose, among other things, we wouldn't enjoy the same experience being foisted upon us. So, when someone in possession of superior natural force is frustrated in his desire and chooses to abide in the frustration of his will instead of forcing his will on another, then congratulations, we have civilization, okay? He may not like it in the moment, but he is choosing to respect the law and the woman's right to choose, which is what we want him to do. But rather than praise his restraint or sympathize with his frustration or, simply pass over the situation without comment, we've somehow agreed that this man is a creepy loser? Make it make sense, people. Listen to me very carefully. If there is a recipe for making someone villainous, it is precisely this: punish him for doing the right thing. And that's precisely what we're doing when we mock these men. I do not advise disparaging people for following the law and respecting the rights of others. We don't have to celebrate these people just for following the law, but insulting them for doing so is the height of stupidity. Imagine a businessman who sells luxury goods, insulting a crowd of people standing out front of his store for being too poor to buy his products. Ha! You pathetic losers! You'll never be able to afford anything nice. How do you think that would go over? Now, I don't think people should steal. I don't think people should riot. But I think we can all agree that that man is either absolutely oblivious or tempting fate in a very foolish way. It's kind of like Marie Antoinette saying, well, let them eat cake. And we all know how that ended up for her. Again, all men are incels at some point. It's not just the unattractive ones. Look at the media. Every day, it seems as though another rich and famous and handsome and powerful man is accused of non-consensual sex. Most likely because he felt his status entitled him to sex, and he believed he could violate the social construct without consequence. Women can and absolutely do turn down attractive men as well. But insulting the men who abide in that frustration instead of imposing their will on women is as stupid as it is tasteless. That's my take. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And please send this episode to someone who you think might benefit from its message, as it's word of mouth referrals like this that really helps make the channel grow. Other value props. Anyone looking to join my free weekly newsletter, for which I write original content, or to book a paid one-on-one consultation with yours truly, can do so on my website. There's also my best-selling book, The Value of Others, paperback, audiobook, and ebook formats, in which I dive deep into the foundations of intersexual relationships, and my private member community, the Captain's Quarters, where, among other things, I host bi-monthly group consultation calls and Q&As with invited guests from all over the internet. It's a great group. We have a lot of fun. Check it out. A lot of value in those resources. Links to everything are in the description below. As always, I appreciate your support, and thank you for listening.